And welcome back. I'll tell you what, we were going to flip a coin for this one, but we did thankfully manage to find an amicable solution to this problem. But it's a serious topic that we are discussing, but also one that speaks of triumph. And in the age of a super information highway with new medical and scientific discoveries, there are still things that we do not clearly understand, such as, of course, cancer. And we do know that there are a lot of risk factors which may be factors in causing changes of our DNA within cells that lead to cancer. But regardless of this, the number of people diagnosed with the disease continues to be on the rise.
So, after a year of struggling with cancer, former SABC colleague of both radio and television, and currently with Radio 702, Xolani Gwala is back on his feet and has shown incredible resilience. He's managed to beat the disease for now, and he is in remission. Xolani Gwala is in studio with us, as well as his oncologist, Dr. Omondi Ogude. It is so good to have both of you here in studio. And Doc, no offense, we are excited to see you, but this man, the fact that you are sitting here opposite us is just unbelievable. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. It's
How
good
are
to
you
be
feeling?
here.
How are you feeling?
Strong-ish. I'm okay. I'm good. It's been a crazy year, but as I've said before, it's just going to take me a very long time to really understand it. It has been hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perhaps that's the easiest thing to say. It's been hell, but we're here now, and we're grateful for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you talk about hell, I can't imagine the moment that you found this out, because I'm sure you were going on with your everyday life, probably not feeling a little bit well, go to the doctor, and then you get this diagnosis that changes, it rocks your world, because anybody that's been there understands that. I mean, talk to us about that moment when you actually found out what was happening to you.
Sure. So I started feeling a little unwell around the second week of August. So it's almost a year now. It was around the second week of August, but it was fever. So I, went back and forth to the doctors trying to check what was going on. And the doctors kept saying, it's just a viral infection, the virus is around. Until my wife said, listen, I'm going to take you to hospital now. We went to Morningside. It was a Sunday. And when we got there, they put us in isolation. They were like, temperature is about 40, what's wrong with you? And the following day, then they started doing tests. The whole day. In the evening on Monday, doctor came to my ward and said, listen, I don't even know where to start. And the reason why I don't know where to start is because you are so young. I was 42 then. But unfortunately, I've got to tell you that you've got cancer. And it's not just cancer, it has spread to other parts of your body as well. So it's advanced. And I don't know the rest, because, after somebody has said that, you can see that they're talking, but you can't hear what they're saying because your mind is just gone. Boom. Yeah. So fortunately, they almost immediately introduced Dr. Ogude to me, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Ogude, here you are called in, and lo and behold, it's the famous X-Man, Xolani Gwala. And, he's just had this terrible, a diagnosis done. How do you come in and how do you start explaining what exactly is wrong with him?
Sure. I mean, I think it's like he says, it's incredibly tough. And he's obviously a well-known figure, and we all listen to him when we wake up in the morning. So it's someone I was familiar with and listened to, and it's very disorientating. You get there and you say, look, this guy's so young. He's a marathon runner. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't drink. And here you have to explain to him what's going on and that he's got such bad disease. So it was quite daunting, and it's tough for him and his family, and you have to explain it to him and his wife, and it's rough. Yeah.
What does it mean when we say someone has stage 4 cancer generally?
So stage 4 cancer basically means that you've got cancer that's spread beyond the original site. Okay, so if it arises from the colon, for example, as in Xolani's case, and then it spreads to another organ like the liver, then that becomes stage 4 cancer. Okay, and the reason that's important is it speaks to things like prognosis and treatment. and helps us kind of guide the patient in terms of what we can do and what we can offer. Yeah.
I mean, is it, you know, we've got a thing up on the board, I suppose, talking about what causes it. Is it lifestyle? Is it inherently in you? You know, cancer is just one of those things that just crops up on you when you least expect it, and to the people that you least expect it of. As you mentioned of Xolani, who was a healthy guy, didn't smoke, didn't drink. I know you used to.
Yeah.
Let's not kid. I sat with you in many bars late at night drinking and smoking. So we'll leave that to our past lives. Okay, sorry, I'm revealing this to you now. But I mean, what is it? What causes it? Do we know yet?
I mean, there's a number of risk factors, and it really depends on the kind of cancer. And, you know, by and large, a lot of it is lifestyle related, like you say. So smoking, drinking, weight gain, those kind of things, they're really important. Older age is also important. But, you know, the gender also makes a difference. So obviously certain cancers are more prevalent in certain genders. So there's a whole number of variables that come together and they interplay, and we're still trying to understand this as doctors and scientists to see how do these things interplay with the environment and ultimately lead to cancer. So we know that you know, there's, you know, most people who have lung cancer, for example, smoke, but not everybody who smokes has lung cancer. And we don't necessarily understand why this is, you know, but we do know that there's an underlying predisposition and a threshold for developing cancer. And, you know, how this threshold is determined, how your genetics and family comes, you know, into play, we're still trying to understand.
Yeah.
Xolani, when this happened, you had just been recently married.
Yeah.
You had a little one, a young daughter. And it all just seemed to happen within the same time. And then I remember your dad also fell terribly ill at the same time.
Yeah, he had a stroke.
What sort of impact has all of this had on you?
Oh, it's been tough, eh? It's been tough. You have a young family, you have children that just don't understand why dad is in hospital all the time. So with my father, he came to see me, it was after the first surgery, and I was in ICU, and I guess he just couldn't take it. I think 3 weeks later he had a massive stroke. He's in a wheelchair today. So it's been very tough on the family. It's been tough on my wife. It's been tough on my mother-in-law, who had to leave her house and come and live with us. But they've been an amazing support structure. My brothers, my sisters, everyone has really rallied around us and made sure that you know, they give us all the support that we needed. But it was tough. It was really, really hard.
How was the treatment, Xolani? I mean, let's go there, because as much as you needed the support, but that
Dr. Ogude
how
told
did it make you
me
feel?
the first time we met that I'm going to give you the most potent.
Yeah.
Because of the level of disease. I mean, one of the things that he says now is that there was more cancer in my liver than there was liver. So you were treating two things, essentially. So we started with the colon, then there was an operation for the colon. And then the liver, they operated it in 2 stages. So I had 3 operations in my tummy. So you can explain, though, why the liver had to be resected twice, the 2 operations in the liver. But then I took about 6 cycles of chemo, which is 12 sessions. And chemo is brutal.
Yeah.
Chemo is really, really brutal.
Brutal but life-saving.
I was very, very lucky because some people respond, some people don't respond. Okay. And I responded in the first 3 cycles, and then we were able to take it to the surgeons and say, listen, this is what we have. Can you guys work with this? Because, as he will tell you, the problem is that at the beginning, my liver was inoperable. There was just too much cancer. You couldn't operate it. So you needed cancer to shrink. So I beg your pardon. You needed chemo to shrink the cancer so that they can then operate at least. So they then had to cut it twice.
Yeah.
But you were an absolute champ about it. I remember seeing you after the first chemo treatment, and doctor, he was a champ, and there were just so many people in and out of that hospital facility. It was absolutely crazy.
I must be honest with you, it made it easy, hey? At the Center in Oncology, where the doc operates from, We had something called a naughty corner. That's where Aubrey and Mosey and everybody would come and make a lot of noise and just make life a little easier. And a lot of friends came through to just show support. That made things very, very easy. But it was hard.
What's the lesson you learned? Because, we all wait for that moment in our lives where we say, where your life is so fragile and people always say it takes a devastating impact on our lives to realize the true meaning of life. And I'm sure through all of this, you've learned so much.
So, I just think that obviously it will take me a lifetime just decoding and analyzing what happened. But the one thing that I think I have learned is just to be grateful. I'm grateful for every day that I have, because you just never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Grateful for family, grateful for friends, grateful for, I had a very long chat with one of the doctors after the operation at Mill Park, who said to me, don't worry about what happens next. At the moment, as doctors, we're comfortable that we have done everything for you. We have achieved the goals we set out at the beginning. Go home now, go to work even. Don't worry about what happens next. Just be grateful for the now. And I think that's just the most amazing lesson. Just be grateful that you are here in South Africa. Be grateful that you have medical aid. You are able to come here and do the things. Be grateful that you had the doctors that you had. You have the family that you have. The lesson is that be grateful.
I love that. And be in the now. I just want to wrap it up. We need a little bit of an update. Doc, you're never out the woods with cancer. We know that. We're being realistic. There's always that chance it'll come back. But where are we with Xolani?
So I think, as Xolani pointed out, we've achieved a lot of the goals that we set out to. It was initially to resect the original cancer in his colon, and subsequently to resect the lesions that were in his liver as well. And I think we've successfully done that, and he's done incredibly well. He's almost back to the man that he was before. He's gained his weight back. He's looking great. He feels well. Very minimal pain. A lot of it just associated with surgery. I don't think a lot of people know that it's only been about 8 weeks.
About a month.
Wow.
The last one was on the 16th of June.
16th, yeah. So it's been a short period, So really the next step is about, he's currently on maintenance chemotherapy. And the idea is just to try and control the disease, keep it at bay. We'll monitor him, and hopefully he continues to defy all the odds and stay well. Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, Dr. Ogude, Xolani, thanks so much for stopping by. And Leanne, all I can think of is, God forbid that, when you find yourself in this situation, that this should happen to begin with. But if it does, if I can carry that burden with half the amount of grace that Xolani Gwala has.
No, I must thank you, because the both of you, messages all the time, calls from the both of you, I really appreciated it as colleagues and friends.
Yeah, you know what I think? I think your story just hit everybody so hard because A, we know you, and B, what a strong, full of life, full of energetic young guy to have this. But your strength and dignity was and is absolutely amazing. So I know it was the medicine, but it's this, I think, this is the real fighter, isn't it?
It is.
And of course, if you leave us to it, we're never going to finish.
We're not.
We
don't want to let you go, Xolani.
And thanks to Xolani and Dr. Ogude for coming through and talking to us about Xolani's journey with cancer. And he's beaten and is currently in remission. And thanks to Dr. Ogude as well for speaking to us.